1140 The Fan. Talkin Money.
And we're back to Talkin Money.
Yeah.
And here's Jeff Tarbell.
That's me. How are you? I can't hear myself now. There we go. Maybe that was a good thing. I don't like what I'm hearing, so. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140, or you can text us at 441140. We did get a winner. Mark had the right answer to our quiz question, which was this little company called Anheuser-Busch. I think they make some beer or something. I've heard of them. They bought $20 billion worth of
Corona.
Of Corona. That is one hell of a truckload of Corona. $20 billion, and that comes with the line, by the way, if you want it. The Modelo Group is being sold to Anheuser-Busch. You look at that industry. You've got the Molson Coors. You've got Anheuser-Busch. You're getting down from what was probably 25 main players, or 25 players, all doing their own thing. And we're going to have like 4 beer companies.
Yeah.
We got three banks in the world, 4 beer companies, and 1 bullet train. And with all that, we're going to have off to next year. So it's interesting.
I like the comment here in the Wall Street Journal. I love the English here. Anheuser-Busch reckons. They reckon. I reckon we can make some money off of this.
I reckon. If you're reckoning, you're making money. So there you go. So we'll have our Anheuser Corona Modelo.
Yeah, like you're saying, the reason is like any other business right now. They're reckoning. They feel they can save about $600 million a year in cost savings by just merging things, consolidating.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Off the text line at 441140, we're getting lots and lots of texts today on our bullet train comment. There was one earlier. The UCLA did a study of the bullet train in Japan. Scroll down a little bit more if you can. There's it right there. UCLA Economic Forecast just analyzed the bullet train in Japan and found it did not benefit the economy. However, highways with trucks benefit local economies more. You scroll up. These are more texts from the 916 against the bullet train. Public fundings for a bullet train. I'm traveling down 99 South right now, experiencing horrific conditions. We should work on funding our fundamental infrastructure we already have, and not putting out new projects we don't need. So that's my biggest concern is that if someone tells me today it's going to cost $1 because they're trying to get it to go through, you can be damn sure it's going to cost $2.50 when this thing gets done. And I am watching. As I mentioned, I have a client that's doing some work in another state on a similar project, and the costs have just gone through the roof. I mean, to the point now they've already started, and they're thinking like we should just stop and let's just burn the money we've already got and not burn anymore.
Mind-boggling.
Burn anymore, yeah. So I'm sure working in California will be much cheaper than anywhere else.
Absolutely.
It's got to be easier here. Everything is so well organized here. It'll be great. I did mention a couple of things too. So one other thing that happened in the state this week was the mortgage. What did they call it? The mortgage protection law. I don't know. There's some name for it. But basically a law in the state of California about how banks must deal with the consumer. That's a tough one because on the surface it sounds really good, and there are some parts of it that are probably really good. Mm-hmm. One of them is that the banks must create a single point of contact for dealing with you on a foreclosure or a short sale. And I totally agree with that because you talk to people that are going through it. They send their paperwork to John. John's not here anymore. Dave's not here anymore, man. And they move your paperwork over. Oh, I can't find your paperwork. And the next thing you know, Jeb's got your file. And then Jeb's on vacation. And it just kind of moves around the table. And, and I don't know whether that's a stall tactic on purpose or it's just disorganization. It's probably just disorganization.
Right, absolutely.
So they're going to mandate if you want to deal with borrowers in California, you have to have a single point of contact. That's cool. I think that's fine. The other one is you cannot simultaneously start working with me on a modification or a short sale and simultaneously start on foreclosing on me at the same time. You're running down the same track, and then we go, oh, your modification was denied. Boom, we foreclosed on you. So I agree with that. I mean, let's just be fair about it. If we're dealing with me on a modification or a short sale, then let's work this out. And if it doesn't work out, then tell me we're not going down that route any further. We're going to start over here. Then I understand what's going on. Don't tell me, that you love me while you have a gun to the back of my head the whole time. So I agree with. Some of the other things that I think they're going to be the after effects of that are there's some discussion now about eminent domain, where the state may come in and be able to take over the home and give it back to the homeowner. This is one thing that was discussed this week, and there's some other problems too. And I bring this up from the standpoint of this, because everybody can understand this. Why are credit card rates 15 to 21%? Why? Okay.
Because that's what market will hold.
Well, in part, it's because a third of the people don't pay them back at all. A third of the people pay their payments all the time. The others are somewhere in between. So all of us are paying for the third that don't pay back at all, and for those that are late payers and get some money back. So it gets spread out across the bank. The credit card issuer is not making 18% on their money.
Right.
They're getting 0 on a third of it, and they're getting 18% on a third of it, and they're getting something else in between. Some people pay off their balances all the time. They're getting nothing out of those. So they're getting somewhere in a return of probably 7 to 9% on their money. They just have to charge 18% on the people that can actually pay to cover the people that don't. They go into bankruptcy or don't pay their bills. So you look at that and say, okay, so how does that transmit to the mortgage world? Well, if you want to do business in California, and I, as a borrower in California, have the right to sue you in court if I don't like the way things are going, the state can come back in and take the house from the lender and give it back to the borrower. If there's some way that makes it very easy for the consumer to not pay their bill back, then lenders will look at the state of California and say, okay, one, those crackpots aren't getting any of my money, or two, I'm only getting 65% of my payments back because of all these other funky negotiations, so I'm going to have to charge 10%, so I end up making 6%. Yep. Because 45, some percentage of them are not paying at all, and some are dinking around and suing us for things. So the rest of us, those that are actually paying our bill, are going to be funding the creative BS that goes on for those that aren't paying their bills. And it happens everywhere else in the world.
All the time, any different scenario, for sure.
But the reason the mortgage world has been different is that there has been a collateral tied to the bank's investment that they can get back. Now, the bank has to make a decision. Do I want to make a loan on Jeb's house or not? I did an appraisal. I did an evaluation of him. Okay, I, as the lender, am making a business decision on Jeb. And if he burns me, then I screwed up. Okay? I didn't look into his job enough. I didn't look into his credit enough. I didn't look into the house enough. But that's my problem. Okay? I'm not passing it on to John because Jeb burned me. But if you get into the state where everybody has their own kind of weird rules, and all Jeb has to do is call John, and the attorney calls back and says, you know what, hey, we're not paying you. You didn't do this the way our new rules are. Then pretty soon the bank has to say, you know what, we're just going to put a premium on California all across the board. And that concerns me. That concerns me. As we talked about in the previous break, the tentacles and the impact of the real estate business in our community is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in California. What we do here is we sell real estate. Okay? We don't manufacture a lot of stuff anymore. We grow a lot of stuff still. We do a few movies. We sell real estate in large part in a lot of communities, and so that could really hamper the growth and the movement of our communities and our business. That's what scares me. We're creating special rules to cover the 5%, and the 95% of us are going to get stuck with the bill. Okay, so what sounds good, and there are some good features in that, means that we're trying to recreate the whole world for the 5% of the people that are having trouble. And there's going to be a cost to it. I guarantee you there's going to be a cost to it. You already look at other factors. I mean, you look at the way loans are priced now. They're priced by credit score. They're priced by different features. Manufactured homes are, there's different criteria for all these different things. And pretty soon there will be just a criteria for if the loan is in California, add this to the pricing. So we'll talk about that when we come back as well. There's also some other taxes coming up. Jeb Burton has joined us in the studio from the Burton Law Firm. We're going to talk about how to maybe protect your assets if you've got any left after the state has taken them left. I met Jeb. I won't get into all the things we did. we're gonna go out and set up a Cayman account for our diving account, our diving fund. We'll do that too. This is Talkin Money. My name is Jeff Tarbell. That's John Fodero, and we're gonna be right back in about 60 seconds. So hold on. We'll be
Right back, Jack.